Hello everyone, hi, it's Mita. This is about the psychic known as Sylvia Browne. I have had her chart done for some time now because there have been scandals around her name for the couple of years regarding to whether her psychic abilities were fake or not. People obviously bringing up all the mistakes that she made in her predictions, psychic predictions, or revelations rather. And so she's been talked about quite a lot on social media. The first time that I got to know about her, it was because of a post that was on Instagram, and I was like, hold on, this is attracting me in terms of curiosity, and I wanted to see if she was fake as people say she was, and of course I do like to test theories. I also like to test a lot of things that are said by psychics online or tarot readers, card readers. When they make a reading, I like to test it astrologically because that's what I know best, the astrology part, the calculation part. So I am believing that what I see in astrology is the same thing that a tarot reader should see, is the same thing that a psychic should see, is the same thing that a prayerful person will see, is the same person that a dreamer, a visionary, all these types of gifted people, we should all see the same thing. That's what I believe in, and I have tested some of the YouTubers, some of the popular YouTubers who are doing tarot. I don't know how it's said, is it tarot or tarot? I don't know how it's said, sorry. I have tested, some of their things, some of their work, and there are tarot readers who would say actually what I would also be calculating and seeing in terms of astrology. So when it comes to those, I was like, okay, yeah, they are really good in what they do in their tarot. And then some, of course, when I taste what they say in terms of astrology, it just doesn't make up, it doesn't gel together. So but of course, when it comes to occults, because we are all occultists, and of course there are people who pray who don't see themselves as occultists. There are those who are firm believers in their faith, in their Bibles, in Christianity, religion, or Islam, and they don't believe anything outside of the Bible. However, I am disappointed in those who found my comment about reading the Bible or these books as historical books as offensive, because I was like, okay, you find it offensive that I read a Bible as a historical book, but you are on a channel that is talking about astrology. Because if you have to follow the Bible all the way through, then you're not supposed to be following astrology. You're not supposed to be following psychics. You're not supposed to be following tarot readers, magicians, because these are all banned by the Bible. If you read your Bible properly, it is inhibiting people from following astrology. So you can't judge me, but for saying I don't read it, the way that you read it. I read it as a historical book that has a lot of history, lots of politics, lots of these things. And then you come and you do the same, like the opposite of what the Bible is saying. You follow astrology. It just doesn't gel. But anyway, I understand we're all humans. It's easy to judge other people and what they do, or based on what they say, and we forget about the mistakes that we do as people, or the two-faced steps that we take as people, and the actions that are not matching, so we do forget. It's normal, I understand. But I was disappointed, I was like, come on, But c'est la vie, it's life. Things are like this, we're not perfect as people, so that's fine. Anyway, back to this psychic here, Sylvia Browne. Oh, by the way, I have high respect for people who are able to tell the future, people who are able to tap into the other world and get messages. I have high respect. I don't even want to make fun of this part. I don't, because my mother was a prophetess, and she was good in what she was doing, and she was doing it, in Africa. There were no TVs that were following prophetess at the time. There were no social media, there was no popularity, but she was doing it, and people came to her, and with her gift, she was not just able to tell you about your problems. She was not able to just tell you, okay, look, you sick, your body right now is suffering from this and this and this. This person is doing this and this and this against you. In the couple of days, this and this and this will happen to you. Be careful. She was doing all of these things, but at the same time able to heal the people through herbs, through is it wash? I don't know the English word. When you just pray over something, over water, for an example, and then somebody drinks that water and it becomes a healing agent. She was like that. She was just able to use nature into and make it a healer. So she would tell you your problem, and then she would also heal you on top of that. So she was very gifted, very special. So I have high respect of the people who do these things. I don't even want to joke about it, and obviously and naturally I'm a skeptic, because my moon is with Saturn, so I am in Scorpio, definitely. So I am a skeptic. So I want to test things. I want to be able to see it like in a provable way before I believe in things. So this is why I like to test a whole lot of things astrologically, because for me, I have found astrology to give me the answers that many of the theoretical or spiritual, like intangible ways aren't able to give me. Like, I need proof. And so thanks to astrology, I've been able to manage to get the proof, because I calculate, I match things, I compare data. I definitely, obviously, I do use intuition as well, to some extent, because when you see a whole lot of data in front of you, it's not probable to just use the data, because if you have 10 kids who are born, all of them, they are born at 2 o'clock in the same hospital, they will have the same ascendant, the same placements, the same degrees, because they are all born at 2 o'clock, all born in the same place. So they become like one person. But then the intuition then tells you now that, hold on, child A is going to have this type of life, these experiences. Child B is going to have these experiences that are different from child A. But then you get this from now, the intuition, because the data in front of you is going to be exactly the same, guys, exactly the same. So what you're going to do now, you're going to tell everyone that, hey, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you all get a car, because, you have Rahu in your 4th houses. No. It also, we must remember, I think I should just say this. We must remember that beyond our charts, there is karma. Okay? Beyond your chart, there is karma that is entangled with your chart. And this is where the intuition reading comes in. This is why many astrologers would be able to statistically tell you what is ought to do. What is ought to happen, what you ought to do, right? But then you find out that even when you do that, things don't move, things don't happen, things don't materialize. The data was correct. So the astrologer who's reading the data was correct and reading the data correctly. However, they lacked probably the intuition that would be able to differentiate the data from your karma, which is also entangled in your chart or with your chart. So people who aren't like astrologers who aren't intuitively awake, they will repeat the same thing. Like, they will repeat the same analysis, the same prediction for everyone. They will say the same thing to everyone, because this is what they learned. This is the data. This is what they learned at school, that when Saturn is placed in your 2nd house, things will be slow in terms of materializing your resources and da. But then an intuitive based astrologer will be able to know that according to your karma, even though Saturn is in your 2nd house, you will be able to get wealth, or you will immediately grow up from wealth as soon as you are born, regardless of the Saturn that is in your 2nd house. So this is where now you get that intuition vibe, and So I really absolutely respect people who use intuition, like the psychics, the prophets, the prophetesses. I respect so much this craft. So I don't want anything that I'm going to say about this lady to be taken out of context, or for anything beyond what I'm saying. I have so much respect for the field. And so, because what I'm going to talk about is highly speculative, I must say that it is highly speculative, alleged. This is astrology. I must remind everyone that astrology, is not all accepted as a form of tangible science in our world. I'd like to emphasize on that, in our world. And so, but now look at her chart. Remember, I am using sidereal to come up with my ascendant. She's a Sagittarius ascendant. Okay, so definitely a Sagittarius ascendant is somebody who's able to have a whole lot of knowledge naturally. They are just born wise. They are just born knowledgeable. These are the people that don't even need to go to school. These are the people that are taught by nature. They are taught by life. They are schooled by life, and they learn a whole lot, from also their lineages. Now, she's got that Rahu there on the ascendant, and guys, I've told you so many times now, you must remember what I've told you about Rahu. People with Rahu on their ascendant will get a whole lot of criticism in their life. They will get a lot of scandals thrown at them, and of course sometimes it is because of their behavior, but because Rahu is not understood, so these people will always be misunderstood. They will always attract controversy naturally, whether they're doing good, whether they're doing bad, it doesn't matter. People will just not understand you. They don't get you. You could be literally an angel, and people will still think you are the devil. It's just how it is with Rahu. And we must also understand the nature of Rahu. This is a magician. So a lot of people don't understand magicians. We don't know what tricks they've done. We don't understand it. And a lot of people are scared of what they don't understand. Simple as that. Many people, this is psychology, many people, they don't accept, or they fear, or they reject people that they don't understand. Speaking of rejection, we must remember also that Rahu is the ruler of the misfits, the ruler of the rejected people, the ruler of the outcasts. And so when Rahu is on your ascendant, you are born to be an outcast. It is therefore, important that a whole lot of people with this Rahu, they just wear it immediately. Like, you just go in the room knowing that a lot of people will be shaken by your presence. A lot of people's energies will shift by your presence. A lot of people's attitudes will be touched just by you being in the vicinity. That's what you need to accept as a person with a Rahu on your ascendant. Once you embody this, you will be able to literally don't care about what people say about you, because it doesn't matter. I just want to tell you, it doesn't matter what you do, they will still find something negative to talk about you. People that I can, like celebrities that I can mention and that I always like to mention, because they do bring reality into our knowledge, so that we understand how these things work. Meghan Markle, she's got a Rahu on her ascendant. It doesn't matter what she does, this lady, it doesn't matter. People will talk, will find negative things to talk about her, will find, she could be like just sneezing and people will just find faults with how she sneezes, how she sneezes and all of this. So it doesn't matter. Same with Rihanna, she's got a Rahu on her ascendant. Rihanna literally chose to wear her, bad girl persona that people were throwing at her, and she just accepted it. She was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to accept, and I'm just going to be the bad girl that, will give me the freedom to live my life, And so when it comes to Rihanna, she just accepted, that, those criticisms, that they will always be there. And she was just like, let live, babe, let live. And once she did that, and she wore that bad girl persona, she just rejected to be perfect. She didn't want people to know her as perfect. She mingled with people, because remember, Rahu is the ruler, the co-ruler of people. Big Aquarius sign. You are meant to mingle with people. You are meant to, not want to see yourself as above others. Life will place you above others, definitely. With the Rahu on your ascendant, you are born to be above others naturally. Like nobody can dim that light from you. You are born to be above people, above average people, above normal people, one way or the other, whether through your job, through your connections. You are not born to be, you're just a commoner. No. But because of that Rahu, you then have to see yourself as part of the commoners. Like Rihanna is like, she's a billionaire, but she's so humbled. She's just like, she mingles with people, she talks with people, she's nice to people, she doesn't want to be like the perfect person. She doesn't want to be seen like that. She wants to be seen as, somebody who makes mistakes, somebody who's learning and all of these things, which is great. And Meghan Markle has also learned, to just break out of the perfection, by leaving the royal family, which is known to be perfectionist. Everything is done perfectly with the rules. She became the rule breaker. Basically, when you have Rahu on your ascendant, you are the rule breaker. You break what's perfect and you verge on your own way. That's just it. That's just what it is. And because of that, you are the rule breaker, the perfectionist breaker, the one who goes out of the norm, the outcast. People will talk about you. They will just criticize you, And of course, with Sylvia Browne, the psychic, she's got that Rahu. Definitely, she's the talk of the town, even way, way beyond her passing. People are still talking about her up to this day and criticizing her, not just talking about her, but criticizing her. So let's get deeper. Let me just have a sip of my tea. So, was she a psychic? According to astrology, I can 100% confirm that she was a gifted person who could see things, who could see hidden things, who could see hidden truths, who could see secrets of people, who was also exposed to high knowledge that is forbidden. She was exposed to that knowledge. She had access to it. She was the front seated person to such knowledge. And this is according to astrology because, well, let's look at her chart. If we look at her 12th house, what is there? What sign is there? This is a Scorpio sign because she's a Sagittarius ascendant. It's a Scorpio sign in her 12th house of what? What is the 12th house about? It is about the sixth sense, the higher realms, what is beyond what we can see. It is your subconscious, and of course it's isolation in terms of physical placement. This is where you go and be isolated from people, from the people that you know, right? So what does she have in her 12th house? She has Jupiter, she has Moon, she has Venus. Focus on that Moon. What is Moon about? It is about your mind, your mindset, your thoughts, your knowledge. What is Jupiter about? Knowledge, what you know, your essence of being here. What is Venus about? About occult knowledge as well. Yes, Venus is also about occult. Remember, this is what I have been preaching to strengthen women so that they can know their power. That Venus, Ishtar, won the battle of the 8th house. Venus, Ishtar, according to the Babylonian theory or religion, which I follow, because this is where I also get my astrology. As you guys know, I get knowledge everywhere. I'm a Gemini, so I collect knowledge from everywhere. I'm not fixed in one school of thought, so I am all over the place. Information is information. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. So, according to the Babylonian theory or theology or religion, astrology religion, we do know that Ishtar, the Venus, went to the 8th house to go and visit her sister. Sister is, in terms of the modern astrology, is a polluter, because we must remember that polluter is the ruler or the co-ruler of the 8th house, right? Co-ruling with Mars. And so Venus then went there to visit Pluto, because Venus, Ishtar, is actually sisters with Pluto according to the theologies. This is why I urge you guys, when you have time, read read religious books beyond your normal book, like beyond your Bible, beyond your Quran. Just read other things, then you can be able to learn more about about this religion that we're all about, astrology, right? So, and then when she got there, she had to fight. Venus had to fight, the darkness of their 8th house, because it is underwater. This is where the rulership of Pluto is, underwater. And she fought and she won the battle. And therefore, when it comes to the occult, she is aware, Venus is aware about what is going on in the 8th house. But particularly also, logically, if we're looking at the houses, her house, the 2nd house, is directly opposite the 8th house. When you have your own home opposite your neighbor's home, like in front of you, with the neighbor that is in front of you, you usually know a whole lot about that neighbor. You know about who's going to visit their house, what time they arrive, where they park their car. You usually know these things because you are literally directly in front of them, right? So you see stuff. So, but mostly because, she won the battle of the 8th house. So she knows the occult. Venus knows the occult. And now she's then in the sign of the occult. With the moon, the mindset, your mindset, this is what you're thinking about 24/7. When we're talking about moon placement, we are literally talking about what is occupying you in your life 24/7. What are you all about? If it's in Scorpio, debilitated, just like mine, we already know that you just think about occults, or you just think about taboo things. You know secrets, you know people's secrets, you keep secrets. You are just the vault of secretive things, taboo things. You know them. Nothing shocks you because Scorpio is well versed in these normally shocking things, but because your moon, your mind set is born to be in that, to deal with those things, you end up, not being shocked by anything, because since birth, this is what you've been exposed to. People will just come to you and tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. So you have nothing, to you really just, you're not shocked. I can attest to it. My work, whether legally or astrologically, is exposing me to secrets. But even in my private life, since I was, young, growing up, people just wanted to tell me their secrets. And it's like they just knew I would, keep them, because I don't care to talk about them. Like if you tell me your secret, okay, cool, I listen. And for me, it's not interesting that I should now go and talk about it. Oh my gosh, No, it's like I hear you, I listen to you. I always obviously think practically when people tell me secrets, because my moon is with certain. So immediately when you tell me your secret or your problem, my mind goes to solution. Like, how can we solve your problem? That's how I think. I don't think like, oh my gosh, come, I give you a hug and that's it. No, my mind jumps to practicality. Like, okay, you have this problem or you've experienced this. How can we solve it? What is the solution from now on, right? So very practical. But in terms of her, Sylvia, she's got, with the Jupiter and the Venus. So these are benefics. These are all benefics, the 3 signs here. So meaning that she was also able to advise people, give comfort to people, be empathic to people, right? But you must remember with her story of life that, and these videos that we see whereby people feel like she was detached, she was a bit rude, in her answers, she was unempathic. Do you know why? Because her Saturn had progressed to be in this conjunction, as well. So when you bring certain, that softness goes away and the person wants to be direct, the person wants to give you a solution, the person wants you to deal with the stuff practically, with less emotions, so this is what a certain involvement it does. But now there are also obviously those mistakes that she made in her predictions or in her psychic resolutions. She had many that she got right, and she had those ones that are still talked about today, the big ones, right? About children, involving children. Okay, I understand, but I just wish people knew that when it comes to the 9th house, this is about missing kids. The 9th house is about missing children. So if you have your chart and your 9th house and you are trying to help people regarding to missing kids, and your 9th house is not strengthened, maybe you're an astrologer, or any other medium, because I know that my channel, I know that I attract a lot of intellectuals. That's what I know. I know you guys are intellectuals, a lot of you are intellectuals, you are people who know things already. So that's my audience, is people who already know quite a lot. So if you are, and of course I'm sure healers as well are here, and so if your 9th house is not allowing you to deal with missing kids, do not get into that field at all, because you will make a lot of mistakes, and you will. And when we talk about children now, we're talking about sensitive subject. This is not where we should be risking playing dice, playing chess, playing checkers. No, these are kids. So we need to be serious here. We need to make sure that your chart allows you to tap into that domain, so that you can find kids, missing kids. So with her, she was not supposed to be touching that domain at all. She was not supposed to be touching that domain at all. I repeat, she was not supposed, according to her chart, she was not supposed to be touching that domain at all in her faculty, in her practice. Why, Mita? Why? You can't just say those things. Why? Okay, let's look at that 9th house. What is the sign there? It's Leo, right? What is Leo about? It's about kids. But kids, right? So this is why she tapped into that, because Leo is about kids. But what is in there? What's sitting there? We have vertex at 0 degrees, right? What is vertex about? Remember, it is about what will change your life forever. Okay? This is your 360 change of point. But then what does she have next? She has Mars in her 9th house. Mars. You guys, by now, I don't enjoy Mars. You do know I get upset. I want to fight Mars. Because I have a strong Mars, by the way. In my own chart, I have a strong Mars. So that's why I just get so defensive when it comes to anything with Mars, because Mars should not be taken lightly. It should not be romanticized. It should not be placed on a pedestal. All right, it's good for blood. It gives us life for sure. It gives us energy, drive, passion for sure. But if we are not able to redirect that energy, we can be skittered and we can create wars and conflict and arguments, and all of these things are coming from Mars, right? So now when you place that in the house whereby you are doing your work and you're trying to find kids, Mars is the destroyer. Mars is the destroyer of life. It is the taker of life. It is not patient with children. Mars is not patient with children. If you're going to find somebody who's patient with kids, it's definitely going to be Jupiter. But Mars is not patient at all with kids. It will cause trouble, problems if it's relating to the kids subject. And unfortunately, we can see that in her case, oh my gosh, particularly with that Neptune. Oh, what is Neptune about? What is Neptune about, Mita? You can't just talk about Neptune and then you don't say anything. Neptune, remember, we must remember, it is about confusion. Wherever it sits, it's going to bring confusion. We must not romanticize it as it. I mean, it does have good sides. But in order to be practical and to actually know what are the dangers that are going to come from wherever it's sitting, it is that confusion. And we do know there are a whole lot of confusion based answers that she gave when it came to kids that were missing, people that were missing. Basically, the 9th house is just about people who go missing. I urge you guys, I know you are all intellectuals, you are, practitioners. When you are dealing with kids or missing people, look at your 9th house and see if you are capable of delivering, because these are about families who are worried about their people, who are already emotionally bruised. So we don't want to give them false hopes, as Neptune will be able to give false hope. And as we saw in her career, a whole lot of answers were giving that false hope that your person is still alive or your person is not alive, because confusion, Neptune destroyer with Mars. And that was, the change of her career, like the big thing that gave her a negative image, because there's vertex there. That was the change of her career. That vertex. Now people started to not believe in her. People started to doubt her. People started to, criticize her work and call her fake, and all of these things. Because the vertex is where your life will change. Wow, like her chart is a huge lesson for spiritual people or occultists, people who practice. Her chart is a beautiful canvas for us to learn on what to do, how to do our practices, how to help our clients, how to channel our energies. Now, we must understand that Venus in the 12th house becomes loose. Venus in the 12th house, or Venus in Pisces, it will bring some looseness. When we talk about that, it is because of the exaltation placement. Venus exalted is all about give me the maximum enjoyment of life, regardless of how that is coming to me. Meaning that I don't care if I break some of the rules. I don't care if I, triche. I don't care if I do this, because Venus at its exaltation placement is just all about getting the maximum enjoyment or fulfillment of life. If it's about spirituality, it's gonna get the best. It's gonna be obsessed. Like it's those people who are just spiritually obsessed. They just obsessed. And now you bring Scorpio sign. Definitely you can see a whole lot of obsessions, a whole lot of self-undoing behaviors. Her chart is highly indicative that she would have started, with a gift, spiritually enlightened, because she was in spiritual enlightened. She had access to hidden knowledge, forbidden knowledge, all of the knowledge that you can think of. She had access to that, but with time she fell into addictions. And of course, again, I remind everyone, everything is alleged. This is speculation, astrology, right? So but according to astrology, according to her chart, she would have started to do forbidden substances. And that's what her chart is showing. She would have started to use the substances, but she is not the initiator of that. A partner to her, a spouse, a lover, somebody very intimate to her, she was introduced to this lifestyle by that person. And therefore, when that started, her enlightenment started to be crippled or to be tainted, Her image started to be tainted as well. Of course, she would have then made those mistakes because Neptune would be active, because Neptune is the co-ruler of the 12th house or the Pisces sign. Must remember this. And because Neptune and Jupiter are, both ruling the 12th house, Jupiter is in the 12th house and Neptune is in the 9th house. Definitely these are houses that are all about religion or spirituality. One is religion, the other one is spirituality, but they both allow you access to knowledge. So when you start to taint your mind, moon, because this is with Venus here, Venus is that intimate person who would have introduced these substances, wounding her hero image. Then of course, things got activated there. Mars got activated because what? Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, where this moon and Venus and Jupiter are. Now, what is also evident that it was an intimate person that hurt her, that hurt her mind, that influenced her into self-destruction. It is because of that Chiron in that 7th house with Ketu. Chiron is about wounding, that's all. Wounding, wounding, and it's at 0 degrees, so it starts with the wounding. You know, it's very far from healing. So there's that. But now, you know, I wanted to also look at, obviously, why are people, you know, talking. I talked about the Rahu, but remember, if we look closely to that 11th house, this is what your circle, this is what, you know, people around you know you about. She's got sun. Of course, she was popular, you know, she was always, you know, on TV, because it's opposite the 5th house of television. But her sun is with Lilith. What is Lilith about? Tainted things. And sun is your image. Sun is you, your vibrancy, your life force, your soul, your direction. And it is with Lilith, tainting it. No. And again, it's emphasized that it is because of a spouse, a partner, a lover, an intimate person. Why? Because that Sun and Lilith are in what? In Libra. What is Libra about? Union, relationship, partner. So 3 houses are telling us the same story, confirming that there was a dirty play played by a partner, an intimate person, a spouse, you know, that ruined her, or that drove her into self-destruction. The 11th house is telling us that story, is confirming with the Lilith and Sun conjunct in Libra. The 12th house with Venus, the spouse, is in that Scorpio of obsessions and self-undoing, of course, the 12th house, and that Chiron in the 7th house with Ketu. Yo guys, yo, you know. And you know, sometimes when you look at charts, you just see that the demise of a person, it is through a certain individual, regardless of how you look at the chart. You know, I try to, you can see that their demise will be after a certain part of life is activated. And for her, it was the love. And of course, I do know that she was divorced, I think 3 times. I think. But now I wanted to look at the ending, you know, why did she pass away? And there is no reason given on the internet, which is great, because most of the time I really enjoy it when I'm not led by, you know, public knowledge, because her chart is actually showing here a foul play, and by a partner. Foul play by a partner or intimate person who would have also acted as a manager. So that's that. A manager, or, you know, somebody who is responsible for, you know, your stuff. But there's somebody who is responsible over her, but who was also intimate with her, you know, maybe in love or in friendship. But there is an intimate person here, lover, spouse, who played a foul game towards her passing. That is what her chart is showing. And of course, this is alleged speculation, astrology, and I don't want it to be taken beyond that. This is just astrology, speculation, and everything is alleged from the get-go until we're done. But that's what the chart is showing here. Doesn't matter which way I looked at it. And when it comes to her passing, that's what the chart is indicating here. And so that's it. Let's wrap it up. I must remind everyone that according to astrology, Sylvia Browne was indeed gifted. She was indeed a psychic, so to speak. Because Scorpio is also about psychology. It's the psychic part, and it's in the 12th house of psychic things. And this is the moon, your mindset, what you're all about. So astrology does not, it doesn't deny, it actually confirms that she was legit. She was not, a fake psychic. But with the progressions, her life started to turn against her due to the substances that I'm seeing here, due to the people around her that I'm seeing here, due to the partner around her or lovers around her. And she was also, by the way, is showing in her chart, abused. This was a woman in toxic relationship experiencing abuse. I don't see that. I didn't see that online. I don't see people talking about that. But her chart is showing somebody who was being abused. So we must also remember that, from obviously astrological point of view. I cannot, obviously confirm these things in real life, but astrologically, this is showing in her chart. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This is quite long, but it was really important for me to come and talk about it, because I actually saw again yesterday another Instagram post about from Kim Kardashian, talking about how she got disappointed because 4 of her psychics, they lied to her, and then told her she's going to pass the bar, and she didn't pass. And of course, there are people who are fake for sure. And it's quite interesting, actually. I'm going to be looking at other psychics' charts to see if I can see if they fake or not in terms of the human definition. But when it comes to Sylvia Browne, she was legit, but life and many circumstances, they weakened her gift or her ability to practice her gift. So thank you. I'll chat to you soon. A bientôt. This is Mita. You can check out my website for bookings. Ciao.